Well, thank you all for being here today. When Marty, myself, and others were putting the program together for today's event, we knew we would be remiss if we didn't highlight the critical role that women's funds play in any conversation on women's philanthropy or in women's leadership more generally. And it just so happened that Anna and I, and 8 other incredible women who are listed on the screen, wrote a book about just this topic that was published 6 weeks ago. And so the book really highlights the transformative role that women's funds have played in gender equity over the past 50 years, but really also in reshaping the philanthropic landscape more generally. And so we don't have a whole lot of time in our segment, but I thought it'd be fun to interview Anna and just ask a couple of questions to shed some light on the themes in the book. And Anna's been a mentor for me for over a decade. So it's always a gift to ask questions and to hear Anna talk about this work. And so I thought I'd share that gift with everyone here today. So maybe as just a way to ground this conversation, can you share for folks in the audience who may not be familiar with what a women's fund is, and maybe you've never heard that term before today, can you share what a women's fund is and how it's different than other mainstream philanthropic organizations?
Okay, good morning everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to do this with your time. First of all, I want to just do a 1-second shout out to Marty, as well as a woman, who, sometimes we live thinking, does it make a difference what we do? And Marty is somebody that shows to all of us that it makes an enormous difference what we do. And that what we do authentically, So I wanted to do that, and I want to do a mini shout out to Laura because she's interviewing me, so I have to be modest on that. You know how it is. Because so much would not happen without you, including this book, which we'll talk about it in a minute. Women's funds, women's foundations. First of all, I just want you to know that you have incredible leaders of women's foundations, including my incredible colleague Teresa from the Miss Foundation here today. And at some point, you should reach out and talk so you can understand even more what women's funds and foundations do. But here's what I want to say very quickly. We are the best destination for donors, for community activists, for movements. We come out of the feminist movement. And we are probably the first, the feminism is the first movement that has had a philanthropic arm, and that's women's foundations. And just like feminism, we have also evolved and grown. We are bold, we take risks, we are first investors, and we are that place for whom women are not a fad. We are that place where you can always count that women belong. And when I say women, just like feminism, we are always looking at what are the constraints that we have inherited in our thinking. So, and you heard Mahim, our other incredible colleague in the panel just before, talk about young women, and that we'll talk about that in a minute again. But we also heard her talk about gender expansive. And we know that our ability as feminists to really look at the continuous constraints that we're operating in and to dismantle them so that full inclusion and full expression and belonging can happen to all. So women's foundations are public foundations. That means that everybody contributes. It's not one donor, one corporation, and it's not that way. It is really the belief that problems and solutions live in the same place, but that it takes all of us on equal footing at that table together. We believe that you come as you are, and you do what you can. So what does that mean? It means that it matters who you are. We thrive on inclusion. We thrive on leveraging our different walks in life and coming together for a shared purpose. And that shared purpose is a variation and an expression of justice and equity for women and for all. We are locally competent. Women's foundations and funds exist throughout the US and throughout the globe. And that's really important. So they are funds that emerged out of women putting their dollars together and saying, it's unacceptable to us what we're living. It's unacceptable to us that our own people are an afterthought. So we will center women, and we will center always the women that hold most of the solutions. Who are they? They are the women that live at the intersections, in the middle of all the challenges and opportunities that we're born in. So that means centering women of color. That means centering women with financial challenges. That means centering women that typically are perceived as not belonging to womanhood. That means that women's foundations are that place. If you want to contribute, today is a fundraising day, and I just wanted to say, let's emphasize the three first letters, fund, because fun in fundraising is hardly ever present. Just want to say that. But for us, there is a joy in bringing our dollars together. You don't have to be a millionaire to be a donor to a women's foundation. Just want you to know that. Become a monthly sustainer. So that is that place where you want to go as a philanthropist, as an architect of solutions, who are our community leaders, so many here today. It's that place where we meet to move things together that others don't believe can be moved.
We have very little time left in this segment, but I thought what would be